talk about what is happening now, the exodus that is happening from opposition parties, to be precise, PDP to APC. I don't know, Bola Tinubu, obviously, the APC, Bola Tinubu now, what we are experiencing right now is a one-party state, one-party system, which is undemocratic. I think, in my own opinion, I think Bola Tinubu is blackmailing this, a kind of blackmailing and coercing all these governors because these governors are corrupt. He knows them, whatever. I think what he's doing is just blackmailing them, compelling them, forcing them now to jump ship. It's sort of so that at the end of the day, what we'll have is PDP is almost gone. They just want to kill it completely. You can imagine governors, PDP governors, they're serving governors jumping, jumping ship to join APC. Barrister, honestly, these people have destroyed PDP. My question is, of course, we both of us agree that PDP is destroyed. First, do you agree with me that, or are you in line with my thoughts that these governors are probably either coerced or being blackmailed to actually join APC? That is one. Secondly, who is responsible for the damage done to PDP? I may call it the killing of PDP. Is it Atiku or Wike? Who are we supposed to hold responsible for killing PDP?
On the first issue, it's very obvious that something is happening akin to blackmail is happening behind the scenes. You will see a serving governor who has nothing to gain from going to APC. We still say he's leaving, has nothing to gain. But if you look deeper, you can understand why. Take the case of Delta State, where Obowere and something has come to APC. You will see the drummer is in the bush. He is just dancing by the roadside. Yeah. He is a protege of Okowa. Okowa is the one that installed him. Yeah. And Okowa is having corruption issues.
Yes,
with security agencies.
Yes,
in terms of hundreds of billions. So that's the only way he can bring down the issue against him, by pushing his protest to go to APC. Because Okowa on his own, if he were to go to APC, they will ask him, what about your son, who is the governor? How do you come to us without your son? So he has to take the governor to the APC to satisfy them that yes, he is really with them. So you see, even though the governor himself does not have much to gain, his godfather is the one who is pushing, who has to push him to sort out the issue together. And they are working with James Ibori,
yes,
in Delta State, who also have a lot of issues with PDP. So together, they have crafted, they are the people drumming behind the scenes for the entire movement to PDP in Delta State. So you can see the forces behind the scene. Obviously, there's blackmail involved. You can come into it and your charges against you will be dropped. The charges against Akpabio were dropped. He was being charged by, I think his own was almost 400 billion that they had against him. They were dropped. Yeah. Today he's the Senate president. And the other people are saying that, well, if that is what will get me off the hook, give me a list of life, new list of life, arresting this thing. Why not? After all, there is no tenacity in the Nigerian political system in terms of holding tenaciously to a political party. You move as the wind direct. Now, PDP, as to the destruction of PDP, Wike is the main and determining factor. Not just because he is now, or he was a governor of a rich state. He used his time as River State governor when PDP had a problem before 2023. When there was a time that PDP was comatose. After Atiku lost, back then, they felt that PDP was gone, and they abandoned the funding of PDP. They abandoned it. Wike took up the gauntlet then as governor of Rivers. He was the one installing people in PDP, even in states, using the funds of River State. So he had a grip on the party. That was why he was able to do what he did in the run-up to 2023 election by pulling about 5 governors, sitting governors, to oppose the Atiku's election as the party's candidate and to use them to support Tinubu. So if today you see that PDP has not been able to rise from that kneeling level it was, it is principally the handwork of Tinubu. Now, Atiku has not his a secondary
Handwork of
contribution.
Tinubu. Did you say handwork of
I mean,
Tinubu?
handwork of Wike. Handwork of Wike.
Okay.
Atiku's contribution to the fall of PDP is secondary in nature, in the sense
Oh, you
that,
think so? That his
yes,
contribution is secondary?
secondary to that of Wike, in the sense that people had expected him to sit back and be a statesman so that the party can get a new lease of life. He has been there for as long as people think of. He has led the party to defeat. People expected him to sit back, but and act as a statesman and a financier. Of course, you have the right to nominate 1 or 2 governors in his state that he controls and other issues. But he was not content with that. He came up again seeking the presidency. And if you know the structure of the PDP, if Atiku wants to get that nomination within the PDP, he will also get it because of his vast wealth and already the structures he has politically that align with the PDP. So when that scenario presented itself, a lot of people gave up on the party. That even if we go ahead and revive PDP, as long as Atiku's ambition is there, it's not going to save the party or help the party progress because they believe he will not be able to deliver in another election. So people are now recalibrating their political chances and seeing where they go. We talked before on the coalition of parties when Peter Obi and other Northern elements were going, trying to consult with SDP. And I told you that at the end of the day, things are moving in such a way that the collapse, the PDP will collapse, Labour Party will collapse. That new entity that these elements go in will emerge as a stronger contender and opposition to President Tinubu than these 2 parties that we know are strong. Both Labour Party and PDP are virtually on the ground now.
All right. Honestly, I think I have a different opinion from you, and mine is that Atiku is the primary, the foundational problem that caused actually the reason that caused the demise. I just consider it dead right now, PDP. So that's why I use that word, the demise of PDP. The truth is, he was not supposed to contest in the first place, just like you noted. He contested, and even when he contested and won, he bulldozed himself, imposed himself on the party. He could have done something smart because obviously we followed what happened in the during the primaries. That Wike actually pulled weight. He spent so much money, but he was betrayed. He was stabbed in the back by Tamboa. At least first it was 2.0, for God's sake. You just can't eat your cake and have it. Now you forced yourself. Atiku forced himself on PDP. Instead of him to play fair, at least the person who gave him a very, very good fight for his money, very, very good fight. I really threatened his position as a candidate. Was Wike? Was he close? In fact, Wike threatened to unseat him. For the first time, someone was almost outsmarted Atiku. It just that Atiku played, of course, as a veteran politician. A sort of at the 11th hour, he just pulled the rug off Wike's feet through Tambuwal. So at least he could have appeased Wike after that betrayal, that stab in the back. He could have appeased him by choosing, for God's sake, what is Okowa? Okowa does not have any political pedigree, doesn't have any political weight nationally. I don't even see that the aura of presidency in that guy. He's a governor, of course. I don't. Honestly, Atiku behaved very, very foolishly, especially bearing in mind what Wike did for the party for so many years. That the same Atiku abandoned the party, he abandoned. Someone else took care of the party while he was away. So honestly, he is the foundational reason or foundational cause of PDP's demise. Because trust me, if Wike had been his running mate, we wouldn't have Tinubu. That Rivers State couldn't have. Trust me, Wike, of course, Wike as a fellow contender in the election, of course, Tinubu wouldn't meet with him to discuss a deal. Of course, Rivers State couldn't have gone for Tinubu, and that is why Wike probably PDP would have been better than what it is today. Just look at, just like you agree with me that you pointed out earlier that since then PDP never recovered. It has even gone down the drain further. So what honestly, Wike is just the secondary. Wike is just a reaction to the primary cause of this whole thing.
Let me answer you that we are talking now only because of hindsight. Of course, it is now after all said and done. The realization that the non-nomination of Wike as vice president was a crucial mistake is done in retrospect. At the time, if you followed how things were going, Wike was a pariah in the north because he was taken to be Guerreros, he was taken to be against the north. So the advisors of Atiku and maybe others thought that it is not wise to nominate him because the north will not accept him as VP. That was the overriding concern that made Atiku. And then, but like I say, with benefit of hindsight, it is now recognized that it was a mistake by not nominating him because they underestimated his strength and his capacity for devil'shness.
Barrister, you have forgotten what actually transpired, because it was obvious that the major reason why Atiku refused to go with there are several factors. Probably one of the factors is what you just said, but the major one was this issue of was Wike is just too ambitious, was just too they consider Atiku sees him as a threat. He sees him as someone that is overly ambitious, that having him as a running mate he will obviously have the same issue what he experienced, what Obasanjo experienced with Atiku himself. And so you know what happened, that almost threatened Obasanjo's second term. Obasanjo, because of the power that Atiku wielded, political power and machinery he had then, he almost outsmarted Obasanjo out of the second term.
No,
so obviously Atiku was trying to avoid that. That was why he decided not to pick. That was the major reason. He had other factors, but major factor behind that decision.
I have to disagree with that, because we all know that a vice president has virtually no power, except the extent to which the president permits him to exercise power, the extent to which the president promotes the vice president. The issue with Atiku was very clear. When the country returned to civil rule in 1999, Nigeria was a total pariah throughout the world. Abacha's era had come and the whole world was against Nigeria, against Abacha. Then you have the election that was conducted and Obasanjo came in. Obasanjo's cardinal mistake politically, even though he was right, he felt that Nigeria's image abroad needed to be burnished, to be set right. So he left the internal management of Nigeria, including the economy, in the hands of Atiku.
Yes.
No vice president in Nigeria has ever had the kind of power that Atiku had in the first term of Obasanjo. Obasanjo was junketing around the world to try to reset Nigeria's image, to try to achieve debt relief and forgiveness for Nigeria. He had no time to consider issues in the country, whether by terms of economy or politics. Now, Atiku used that opportunity. He was virtually the president as far as the internal affairs of Nigeria was concerned. He used that opportunity to build his political empire, to position his people within the economy, within the politics, within all the avenues that you can muster power, to build himself. Now, Obasanjo realized very late the mistake he had made, by which time Atiku had become almost too powerful. He had to use all his sons, military and otherwise, to recover the party and the position from Atiku. And then he set about to deal with him. If Obasanjo had not given Atiku that power, he would have cut him to size. Just like Buhari cut Osinbajo to size. Just like Tinubu has cut Kasim to size. So if the president does not give you the power, you as vice president, you are virtually powerless. So Atiku would not fear to put Wike because of Wike's ambition. Because if he, with all his ambition, if the president did not give him the leeway, he will have no strength, no power to exercise. That is just it. I think it is other reasons other than Wike's ambition that made it the ultimate choice to look for somebody else.
Do you think that the PDP will eventually summon courage to expel Wike?
Well, it depends on certain factors. Because for now, it appears that his people are still in charge at various levels of the party. So the party is afraid, or rather, they don't have the muscle to expel him for now. Although there are voices within the party that have been vociferous that let's do it now, let's expel this man now. But if you say expel and you don't have the numbers.
Honestly, Atiku, sorry to cut you short, Barrister. Honestly, Atiku behaves so, I don't know, this, when it comes to politics, this Wike is a baby. It's a baby to him. Even in age anyway, Atiku can give birth to Wike, both politically and biologically. That's just the reality. How Wike outsmarted Atiku, it's not even outsmarted. I don't know why that man behaves so foolishly, abandoned PDP. The problem is that man has an attitude of, or a habit of actually, it's a very disloyal person. The moment he loses election, he forgets about the platform and goes about living his life until the next election. He begins to think, manipulate, to try to see which party to manipulate to contest on its platform. That is the problem. Otherwise, you lost election and you abandoned PDP, went ahead and lived your life. I think he relocated to Dubai, and that was when, obviously, that was when what's his name, Wike, in his smartness, Wike, that as hate him or love or hate him, Wike seemed to have good IQ, good instinct, and very, very smart and intelligent. Probably he's because when you have good instinct, you'll be able to project into the future. You see the future. You visualize the future and begin to act and begin to lay the foundation preparatory for the future. That's exactly what Wike did. And because
Yes,
of this Atiku's disloyalty and foolishness, Wike took over that. Because I don't see, these are two people that are not. One is a Goliath, and the other one is just. I won't say David. David is something that was Victor. Okay, yes, David. Wike is David. Politically, Wike is supposed to be the David, and Atiku the Goliath. Tell me, if not Atiku's foolishness, how will Wike?
If today or in the future, Atiku never becomes the president of Nigeria, is down to one crucial and critical mistake he made in his political life. That is the one of underestimating the power of the presidency. You know, the way these people think, and over a very long period, it is almost accepted that the North controls the power wherever and whenever they want. They will swing it one way or another. So when Obasanjo came into power in 1999, it was alleged that there was an unwritten arrangement that he will only rule for one term of 4 years. So Atiku set about, and with some measure of arrogance, that we have the power, we can change, we can take it to where we want at any point in time. So he set out building his own political structure to succeed Obasanjo. Unknown to him, he underestimated the power of Obasanjo as president and what Obasanjo could do with that power. So when at that time, I know I was close to the party. I was doing stuff for them. I was even doing litigation for PDP. When we go to the party, I was aware that of the 19 governors PDP had, all of them were supporters of Atiku.
Yes.
Obasanjo did not have one single governor.
Yeah.
When the PDP amended its constitution midway, you know, the officers were supposed to be there for two years, national chairman or the national working committee. Then they amended the constitution to make it 4 years for the officers. The question became whether those serving at that time, Gemade and Co., would take benefit of the 4 years.
Barrister, we're taking too long on this.
Yes, let me just conclude. Like I said, the critical mistake of Atiku was to show Obasanjo his hand before, with a lot of time left for Obasanjo to maneuver. Atiku was so confident, overconfident rather, that he had the whole.
Yeah, bottom line. Barrister, sorry to cut you short. The bottom line is that Atiku was, again, the man is a political bigwig, but he's not smart. He lacks intelligence.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, and that is where I was going to.
Yes.
To show the background that he has not been taking good political decisions.
You're right.
To advance his career, and that is why he is making mistakes after mistake.
That is it.
And the first principal mistake was fighting Obasanjo.
Yes.
Which has snowballed into every other issue that comes.
The truth is,
it doesn't have loses, you
for you to be
look for another platform.
Sorry to cut you short. For you to be a successful politician, you just have to have good instincts. Good instincts will lead you into the right decisions, and by extension, victories. Because if he had good instincts, he could have humbled himself under Obasanjo, served Obasanjo, be loyal to Obasanjo.
He would have handed that power long ago. From 2023, he would have 2027.
He would have been the next president instead of Yaradua. Ambassador would have given him power.
Obasanjo rewards loyalty.
Honestly.
And he hates disloyalty.
Yes, of course.
If Atiku had been loyal, he would have been the president in 2027.
Honestly, that man
he will not
just,
be fighting today. Still at his
that
age
man is just politically
run for
foolish.
president.
That's just the truth. Atiku is just politically foolish. He behaves like
a babe
politically.
Some of us see things clearly, but the people you say old and experienced politicians with the resources, they don't see the things that some of us sit in our small office and see very clear.
Honestly,
a very clear path. They seem not to see it.
It's so sad, honestly, so sad. So again, back to my first question. Atiku, between Atiku and Wike, who killed PDP? Of course, it is Atiku. Based on everything we have said right now, everything we have, both of us, our fingers are pointing at Atiku. So he is the foundation of what is happening here today, but happening with PDP today. I don't even know why that name is still ringing. We are still hearing that name in the polity. That name Atiku is an anathema. It should be an anathema to the polity, to any political platform. Honestly, it's supposed to be, it's a curse. That man does not have good political instinct. He should go and sit down. Unfortunately,
and he displayed the same lack of instinct in 2023 elections. He felt confident of the support of the North. So he ignored the 5 governors, Wike and the 5 governors, which should not have been.
Honestly, that man is just non-entity, honestly, in political decisions.